Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Good to see you boys. Ben, I know we're headed back to school soon. You guys are both headed back to school soon. Are you enjoying your last days of summer break?
Yeah, I'm feeling good and enjoying the last days of summer break, but saved to get back to school and continue growing with media stuff and see my friends from there. Who knows? They might be watching this video. Some of them support, which is cool.
100% appreciate all the supporters, especially those OU OU fans down there. But yeah, definitely excited. We got another fun one today. Another top 10 video, top 10 shooting guards. Unfortunately, no Joey for this one. It seems like Joey and Nick are just swapping each other out here on these podcasts. But eventually, by the time the season starts, we'll hopefully get all four of us back on the podcast. But we've got a lot to talk about today. The entire NBA schedule came out this past week. We finally had a couple of interesting transactions that happened over the last couple of days. And we had a shocking retirement for a first ballot Hall of Famer and legend. Excited to get into all that today. So to start things off, let's do Pirtle, which, guys, we've been on fire with Pirtle recently. Let's try to do it again. Let's start by guessing a shooting guard, since we're talking about them today, that changed teams to see if Pirtle is updated with any players on new teams. Tyler Hero, the main piece in the Giannis trade, and it is not updated still. But
I was just about to give Pirtle some credit because I was going to say they usually are pretty good about it, but you know what? Better put those words back in my mouth because
yeah.
Come on, Pirtle, what are we doing? Southeast Division, so it's down to 4 teams: Magic, Hornets, Wizards, Hawks.
Yeah, and this guy is 6'8" or older, 27, 28 years old. So we're and a higher jersey number. So here's what we're gonna do. Hopefully this works. Last pod, we did LaMelo and then Naz Reid because we decided to go with a player that was drafted a couple of years before the player that we guessed first. So let's try and do that again and guess a guy that was drafted in like the 2018, 2017 draft that wears a higher jersey number and in the Southeast Division still too. Who could that
I know,
be?
Who?
I don't know. Who are you thinking, Nick?
I was going to say there's also some players in that division that are new to their team, like Naz Reid on the Hornets. Or who else did they trade?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's gonna, as we see here, it's based off of last year's rosters still.
Yeah.
So player that comes to mind, Southeast Division player that should be in this age range, higher jersey number, Wendell Carter Jr., starting center for the Magic.
Yeah, he definitely fits the height and the position as well.
It's not bad.
You want to go with him? Try to narrow down the position?
Sure.
Yeah, just give him.
Please, can we get another 2? Oh my gosh!
Oh.
I was gonna say Isaac.
Magic.
No, this is gonna be 35, number 35 or number 36. This is gonna be Goga Batadze.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Guess so.
Unbelievable.
Right. There you go. That was good, not bad.
Dude, we got so robbed of a 2. We guessed everything right except the number by 1. That's unbelievable.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, let us know how long it took you guys to get Goga Batadze. But now, let's get into all this news. We've got so much to talk about today, but I think it's only right that we start by talking about Russell Westbrook announcing his retirement pretty suddenly over the last couple days. 18-season career, one of the faces of the league for the last 18 years that he was in the league. All of us have known the league with Russell Westbrook as one of the faces of the league. All-time leader in triple-doubles, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, MVP in one of the most memorable MVP seasons in NBA history. My goodness, Nick, let's start off with you here. I mean, where do you want to start with Westbrook? Were you surprised with him deciding to retire at this moment? Bless you, good sir. Where do you want to start with Westbrook? Oh, bless you.
Wow. Sorry, Russ. No, I want to start with the fact that he's just an all-time, great player. I think I was having a conversation with somebody about prime Derrick Rose and how you could put him up against pretty much any point guard of all time, and he's toe to toe. And Russ is in the same caliber as that. First, I think player ever to average a triple double. Is that right?
Second player, the first in like 60 years. It was Oscar Robertson back in like
Yeah.
the 60s.
Yeah, that's just incredible. I mean, MVP had a huge impact on culture in the league in terms of style, going viral for doing really relatable things. I know, like a lot of times he's just a really good, high character like guy. A lot of times like behind closed doors, and his online presence and all that stuff. So just a really good like fan base and following that he's been able to build throughout his career and a positive light, honestly, in the league for a long time. And it's going to be remembered that way for sure.
Yeah, Ben, obviously a very polarizing player as well with kind of how he played. I mean, he was definitely a unique player and person, both on and off the court. And he was, for better or worse, unapologetically Russell Westbrook 24/7. What are you going to remember, Ben, about Westbrook and his time in the league?
I remember him just the triple doubles, obviously, and that like historically MVP level season he had after Kevin Durant left. He really was one of those big superstars. Like when I first really started following the NBA back in 2015, 2016 with Durant. I remember him and Durant being a lot of fun to watch, and just being dominant with driving to the rim and doing all kinds of different stuff. Well, rebounding and assisting. It's quite a talented guy. I mean, not really the best 3-pointer shot. I mean, occasionally it's some threes, and he, he was one of my favorite players to watch. Honestly, when I first started watching the NBA, so it's crazy him retiring now. Like especially on the Thunder, he was a lot of fun to watch. And then the Rockets and the Wizards, he wasn't as good, but still pretty good. Still a lot of fun to watch. I mean, still put up some big numbers in those places, and there's some funny memes a while ago. Westbrook too that were fun. Forget exactly what they were, but some viral ones which were funny. So he's a legendary player. I expect to get into the Hall of Fame, though he didn't win a ring, but still did some historic things, stats and number wise, and still was a phenomenal player. And yeah, I'll definitely remember Westbrook for a while. I wasn't too surprised he retired a bit since I wasn't totally sure, but yeah, I guess there just wasn't another opportunity coming up on an NBA team, so I can understand it. And congrats to him on a great career.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is though, like, obviously it was with Joey's beloved Sacramento Kings last year, but he still had some flashes. Like he had a pretty good season last year. 15, 5, and 7. He actually had his second best 3-point shooting season of his career. Like he had flashes of still being, a very solid player. Excuse me. And then this offseason, it was actually reported by Shams right after the retirement that Westbrook had offers to go back to the Kings or back to the Washington Wizards. But Westbrook decided to step away on his own terms, which you have to respect.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had offers to go to other teams, but you got to respect that he decided to go away on his own terms and not get pushed out of the league. I know that's been kind of something that's been talked about, that he kind of got pushed out of the league. I mean, he didn't. He had offers from other teams, but I think, saw what happened to Chris Paul last year, where none of us were complaining that he was going to stay in the league another year and go to the Clippers. We thought it was going to be a great fit, but we saw in a bad situation, his Chris Paul's career ended in a very disappointing way. And Westbrook just gets to ride off into the sunset. He doesn't have to deal with any of that garbage. And he's going out with a lot of people respecting his game right now, which you love to see. I know it is kind of unfortunate that throughout his career, because of how he played at different points, he had a lot of haters and criticizers, throughout his career for the type of style that he played and that it wasn't relevant to winning. He's not a good shooter, turns the ball over, a lot of stuff like that. I know Draymond Green on his podcast was saying that basketball fans suck because when guys are playing when guys are in their career, they just criticize all the time. But then when it's actually over, then everyone decides to, show their flowers, to these players. Like, why can't fans show their flowers while guys are still in their prime and playing? And I think that's something that everyone should take into heart when you consider the type of criticism that guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get in the league today, and like even James Harden during his prime with Houston, and Joel Embiid, like guys like that, because you never know when it's going to end. And this was, I think, for a lot of people, this was a very shocking retirement that kind of came out of nowhere.
I do think you're right about going on its own terms and being not on top, but having a good season in your late 30s in your last year, and being able to stand on that the rest of your career and be like, yeah, I impacted winning every single time I took the court. And I think that was a good point about the Chris Paul thing, because that was unfortunate, and hated to see it happen to him then. And for something similar to happen to Brody, it would be unfortunate and undeserving. Wish he would have. He didn't get a ring in LA?
No rings for Westbrook. It's crazy when you go through his, career, especially for guys that were able to witness the whole thing. But, if Joey was on here, for sure, he would have talked about how, like, early on in those Thunder days when he was there with Harden and Kevin Durant still there, and they make the finals in Westbrook's 4th year in the league. He had actually some big games. He had I believe, like a 40-plus point game 4 of that final series, but they lose the series. And that's the only finals that Westbrook made in his career. That was the only real chance that they had in the finals of winning a title. Like the 3 big what ifs with Westbrook's career. It's that finals. After that finals of the Thunder deciding to trade away James Harden to the Rockets so they could have more money to pay Serge Ibaka, which, we saw how that turned. Harden obviously has become a Hall of Fame first ballot guy in his own right. 2016, when they have a 3-1 lead on the 73-win Warriors in the conference finals, blow the 3-1 lead. Who knows if they beat the Cavs? But I mentioned it when we did our playoff matchups that we wish to see. I thought that was a very even matchup if the Thunder and the Cavs faced off that year. Maybe Westbrook has a ring that Durant doesn't leave after that season. And then, of course, after, he gets traded from the Thunder when they move on to the, current era that they're in with Shai and winning, the title last season, goes to the Rockets, the Wizards, which I do want to touch on those seasons, but the Lakers trade, where that was really the first spot where you saw a lot of Westbrook haters, and that's where you really saw the Westbrook and stuff like that come out, just because it was a brutal fit from the very start with LeBron and Anthony Davis and Westbrook, and his career his role just got diminished every spot after that. But I'd say there are a lot of what ifs to Westbrook's career, but I think even though he didn't win a championship, I'd put Westbrook. I think he was a championship player throughout his career. I mean, he left everything out there on the court.
Yeah, I think he was a championship player too. I mean, he tend to always play hard out there. He seemed to have a good mentality out on the court. He wasn't afraid to be aggressive and drive to the rim, usually, from what I remember. So he really did, actually a good amount on the game. When he's, to me, is it up there? Obviously, he's one of the best of all time still, but a great player. Up there still, best players we've seen play the game. Just a historic triple-double thing with him.
Yeah, just a very unique player. I wanted to touch on the Wizards year for a second, because it gets forgotten how unbelievable the stats he was putting up. We're never going to see this again for a point guard. The final 30 games of the season with the Wizards, when you guys remember, the Wizards, the first half of the season, were brutal. They were a huge disappointment with Westbrook and Beal. They were in the lottery. Final 30 games of the season, the Wizards come back and make the playoffs, their only playoff appearance in the last decade. And Westbrook averaged 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 13 assists per game.
Ooh,
That doesn't
wow.
sound real. And we are
Yeah.
never going to see that again
Remember
from a
being crazy.
6'3" point guard. We're never going to see that again. This is one of the most unique players to ever play the game.
Definitely one of the best point guards, probably of all time. You know, I don't know if he ranks in top 5 or top 10, but it's not much further than that. Probably not top 5, but top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I think he definitely has the case for that. Again, like the accolades, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Again, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, MVP, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champion, and in a league where no one's ever really averaged a triple-double besides Oscar and now Jokic. Westbrook did it not once, 4 times. Like, it's really special stuff, and I just, 6'3" point guards, I don't know if we're ever going to see a guy like that again in the league. Like, I'll throw this question out to you guys before we move on. Like, who is, like, the current version of Russell Westbrook?
Harper.
Like, who? Dylan Harper. Like,
it's the closest we got. I mean, he can grab 6, 7, 8 rebounds a game, and he's, I think, 6'2".
Yeah, I guess maybe from a statistical standpoint, he might get there. I mean, we obviously talked about Harper a lot on the top 10 point guards list with having him on our list. But Harper, the thing with me is he doesn't have that nuclear athleticism, that Westbrook had.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of unreplicable in a lot of ways. But if you're basing off that, like modern, I mean, it was Ja.
Yeah.
But I think the closest would be, to me, Harper. I think Harper you might be, I mean, I'm not saying you don't know how athletic he is, but I think we just haven't seen fully how athletic he is. He's still only 20.
Oh, for sure. No, he definitely had some monster dunks throughout the playoffs, but it wasn't as, like, he had some big dunks, but they weren't as, nuclear, monstrous, not speedy. Like,
you need to work that into your broadcasting, nuclear. It's got to be a call.
I do. But the thing is, it's hard to, because you don't come across many guys that have it like that. Like we're talking about, like Ben. Did any name come to mind? I mean, of course, Ja is for sure. Like Ja, Derrick Rose when it was Rose, Westbrook, then Ja. Who do you have?
Another name like playing today that came to my mind. It is like Cade Cunningham reminds me a bit of him. Though I mean, he's taller. But Cade, he's pretty athletic. He could dunk it well at times, and sometimes, he does like constantly average triple doubles, but sometimes his games where he has a lot of assists can really score. He can get some rebounds, so he reminds me a bit too. And Dylan Harper's good comparison for, like, I guess the current guy too. He's a bit like Westbrook so far, at least what shown, some flashes he's had his rookie year. So yeah.
But certainly Westbrook, a one-of-a-kind player. Definitely going to miss having him in the league. It was always super fun to watch him play. And this, to me, this is my first retirement where I feel kind of old, just because really the first season where I was really paying attention was where Westbrook won the MVP, and the years before that as well. And like, to have him gone, it really opens up the mind that, like, man, like, all the top guys from that era are now, getting to the end, obviously, with LeBron, Durant, Steph, Harden, like those. I mean, those are the main. Yeah, Paul George a little bit as well. Just guys like that. Like, it's crazy. Kyrie, Jimmy Butler. Like, we're getting down to the end here for some of these faces of the league from
get used to him, Miles.
Ago. Yeah, it's crazy. But the league is definitely in good hands for sure. But congratulations to Russell Westbrook on an incredible an incredible career. Definitely going to miss having the Brody in the league. But with that, let's get to the NBA schedule getting released. Always a super fun day. Really gets you excited. Seeing all the matchups happening throughout the season. I always love looking at a couple of things. Obviously, when the schedule first gets announced, obviously all of us being Cavs fans, we want to see how our schedule is. Cavs have some tough stretches early in the season, which is going to be interesting to watch early on. But like how the national TV games are distributed amongst every team in the league. That's something that I always love to see, because that's really the indicator on what teams are getting the league the most viewers, essentially. This is basically, showing you that. And we had 4 teams tied for the league lead in national TV games with 34 this year, with the Knicks, the Lakers, the Sixers, and the Spurs, which all makes a lot of sense.
Do you need like a spreadsheet or visual aid of some sort, a pie chart or a graph to keep track of how many different streaming services are nationally broadcasting all the games? Because I mean, I feel like it's hard. You got Peacock, Prime, ABC, ESPN. It's like who's got what on which night? It's like you need a spreadsheet. You need something up on a vision board just to figure everything out.
Yeah, you definitely do. But Ben, what stood out to you when checking out the schedule?
Yeah, I mean, makes sense to me. I figured, teams that were tied that got the best were the same amount. That, I thought those were going to be the ones that got some of the best. But I was surprised they were all tied for the best together. I thought there would only be one or a few that exactly had the most. Like I was guessing the 76ers were with LeBron. They were up there, but somehow the Spurs and the Lakers and Knicks all got the same amount. I guess a little more evenly distributed, but it's all right. I mean, the Lakers, they're still a big market team. They still got Luka there. I still one of the most historic franchises in the league. So I could get it with the Lakers and the Knicks. Could be off the title. But, I mean, Spurs and Wemby. Thunder also got a lot. Obviously Spurs and the Thunder smaller markets, but still 2 of the best teams in the league. It makes sense still. And, there are a few, like, I was surprised that didn't get a whole lot. Like, I thought, the Pacers only got 11, I know. The Raptors got 7. I thought those teams were going to get some more, but I guess the Raptors maybe for the Kawhi trade not being official ain't getting too much. Though they were a playoff team last year. I thought they get some more in the Pacers with Halliburton a bit more, but I mean it's all right. I think it's overall good. Cool. I mean the Mavericks. I mean they weren't really great last year, but they somehow got 21 more than like the Pistons or Cavs. A bit surprising, but they got Cooper Flag, Kyrie. So I mean they're locked and looking good. They could be pretty fun on national TV still, but overall, I mean, it's an exciting schedule. I can't wait for it.
I'm very happy, Ben, that you mentioned the Pacers, because this release and them only having 11 games makes me I am rooting for the Pacers this season. Obviously, besides when they go against the Cavs because they're our favorite team, but I'm rooting for the Pacers because they are getting disrespected as heck for a team that was just in Game 7 of the Finals now 2 seasons ago and essentially have the same roster, just swapping centers, and arguably getting the better player with Zubats in there for Miles Turner. And they are not getting treated like that at all. They are in the middle of the pack of national TV games. And even to start the season, you would think that for Tyrese Halliburton coming back after he's missed, it's going to be like 16, 17 months that he's going to be out. You would think that his return game would be a big thing for how emotional it was on Game 7 of the Finals. Not only is it not on national TV, not only is it not at home, it's at New Orleans. What are we doing, NBA? I am rooting for Halliburton and the
Oh,
Pacers to completely destroy the league again because this is ridiculous. How are we doing this
yeah,
to one of the brightest young stars in the league that, when he last played was on the clutchest playoff run in NBA history? I cannot believe that.
Well,
yeah,
Jalen
I
Brunson won the clutchest run in NBA history,
believe
and
it.
everybody forgot, I guess.
Eh,
Not as good as Hallie. I mean, that was, unforgettable, to be honest.
Yeah,
it is.
can't
Yeah.
believe they're playing the Pelicans in New Orleans. I even you Miles. I know when we've been on podcasts, have laughed about the Pelicans, but I hope your Halliburton. Well, is hungry to prove people wrong. Since I think
That is
I
crazy.
guess he knows people are still sleeping on him, especially if looked at this a bit. But you know, uh, I believe they'll be pretty good. They'll be fine. I mean, whatever it is for them.
Yeah, it's just crazy that the league is just giving that team bulletin board material for the beginning of the season. Like they're giving us at New Orleans for our first game. It's incredible. But yeah, I mean the other not a whole lot of major notes with the schedule. I mean you mentioned Ben, the Thunder have 30 national TV games, which is four less than all the teams at number one. Then it's the Warriors and Nuggets with 28. Still makes sense with Steph and Jokic leading the way. The Wolves getting 27, getting LaMelo and Anthony Edwards must-watch TV. We've talked about it, and the league treated them like it. And the Celtics still getting 27, which I actually was kind of surprised that they still got a whole lot of games. But we talked about on the last podcast, Ben, me, and Joey, how the Celtics, they're treated like a historical franchise. They're still getting a lot of these marquee games and still ranking like the top 10 of national TV games.
Yeah, and I still think they could be a pretty good and possibly fun team to watch in the regular season if they're healthy. I think Paul George, I like the fit of him on their team, so uh, they'll be um good. And um, yeah, I mean the Warriors. I mean 28. I mean I was thinking maybe they get a little less than that. I get giving them a good amount though, since he's still Steph. But I hope Steph can stay healthy. So I hope we don't have any like dud of national TV games with them, since we've seen that a few times before when Steph was injured.
Oh, 100%. The amount of games last year that were primetime marquee games where it was, oh, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the Lakers taking on Brandon Pajemski and the Warriors. Like that
Yeah,
happened way too
Yeah.
often.
yeah,
The league,
Miles,
they are able to flex these games, but
yeah, that is true too. They always have the option to
just
switch it up.
yeah,
Uh,
let's flex. Mm.
but I was wondering if you had any games or a handful of games or a specific game that you were really looking forward to when you saw the schedule come out.
well, I mean, it's got to be the Sixers Knicks opening night at the Garden. It's got to be at least this point. That's definitely the game that I'd be looking forward to the most.
Ben, same question to you, my friend.
Yeah, I would say definitely 76ers Knicks. It's hard not to. It was one of the games I look forward to most. But I mean, also just as a Cavs fan, I mean LeBron soon into the season's coming back to town. First uh in season tournament game for the Cavs, home against LeBron. Crazy enough, that'll be a lot of fun. And really I think of now, but I mean also just uh, I like I'm excited to see the rookies face off Peterson, the Bouncer Wilson. I mean, at the, like all these the rookie top picks going at it. Follow that too.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely
good
going to be
point,
fun.
man.
Nick, were there any for you?
Christmas Day finals rematch. I think it's the third year in a row the Knicks and Spurs are playing in the
Oh
Garden. I
yeah,
think
that'll be fun.
Wemby's rookie year, he had a 50 ball, at least 40 ball at least.
Well, let's see. It'll be 2 of the last 3 years. Last year was the Cavs. Then the year before it was the then the year before it was the Spurs and the Mikal Bridges 40 ball game on
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah. So definitely that one. I love the noon game in the Garden, and the fact that it's a finals rematch is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely excited, but still a long way to go. And we still have some things to talk about transaction wise in the league. Let's quickly talk about these 2 moves here. Starting off with the Clippers re-signing Bradley Beal for 2 years, $5 million. Ben, you were surprised about this in our group chat. I mean, I think we all probably were. Beal, who was with the Clippers last year, but really didn't play a whole lot, suffered a season-ending injury like 6 games into the season. And just didn't really play a whole lot. But the Clippers deciding to bring him back, Ben.
Yeah, sure was surprised by that. I thought he were to sign somewhere else, be like the Heat or somewhere could but like a contending team and like a veteran minimum. But yeah, it's interesting. It makes me wonder more what's going on with Benedict. Yeah, for maybe they're worried they may have to move on from him soon. I don't know, but I I don't love it though for them because he's older. I mean, he's a good guy, but unfortunately he's hit injury prone stuff and what contract they're giving a little too much. Only giving it a veteran minimum. Now they're trying to retool. I mean, to me, would have made a bit more sense on like the Miami Heat as a backup. He could have been a good spot for him as like a shooter and good coaching staff there. But um, what it is, not sure they thought of it with the Kawhi deal. I guess not. I guess just the deal they came up with him and his agent, and here it is.
Yeah, definitely, an interesting move. We'll see if it has really any impact. Again, Beal, think he's still a good player. I thought it was a great fit on their team last year. I mean, we all thought they were going to be super good heading into last year, but then it completely turned around. They've kind of gone into the next phase of their team if the Kawhi Brandon Ingram trade does go through. Um, we did have a trade here on Friday with the Cleveland Cavaliers finally making a transaction here in the offseason, trading Dennis Schroeder and cash considerations to the Charlotte Hornets for Trey Mann. The Cavs doing this to try to save a little money, so to try to free up a little bit more money to acquire in a starting level small forward, whether that's Jonathan Kuminga or Peyton Watson, and also to try to keep them below the definitely well below the second apron, but to try to save a little bit of money here. Nick, obviously, the Cavs are a favorite team here. What did you think of this deal with the Cavs moving on from Schroeder?
I think it's a smart move to hopefully make the incentive a little bit more for one of those small forwards that you mentioned. Um, it's unfortunate you got to sacrifice a vet, like good defensive player that can handle the ball and run an offense a lot of the time. A lot of the time, not all the time, as well. I'm a fan of Schroeder and his game. But Trey Mann is a very solid role player as well. I think he can find a way into the rotation if he takes his opportunity and runs with it. Um, so yeah, he could definitely score it. He's pretty long. I think he's a sort of a jumbo guard, at least 6'2", 6'3", maybe. Um, so not the worst thing in the world. I'm a fan of Schroeder, so I feel a little unpleasant about it because I like his energy. I like his grit, his leadership, his defense. But to free up room to sign a starting level 3 is is just business. So
Ben, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was fine. Makes sense for both teams. I mean, for the Hornets, I mean, just getting a veteran point guard. Not the best ideal one, just for some depth this year. Shooter, I think is cool. And then for the Cavs, I'm glad they're freeing up some money, and I was just hoping throughout the offseason anyways for them to free up some money for Schroeder. I think, the backup guards we had, Proctor and Porter and Thomas, are hopefully going to be getting better and step it up some more off the bench. So, I mean, I'm excited for those young backup guards we have with this, and hopefully, for me, we could get Peyton Watson. I mean, I think Peyton Watson is exactly someone who the Cavs could need. I mean, Kaminga, that could be okay. I want to love that, but that they're trying to think of some way of upgrading the roster, and there can need to be an upgrade free. And also heard like maybe they dump Struth's contract to a team, but it will only be if they know they're like going to be able to get one of those forwards we talk about. That's the only way that would make sense.
Yeah, it'd be giving Strus back in a sign and trade in order to bring either of those guys in. Yeah, I mean, I like it for both teams. Like I said, I think Dennis Schroeder on the Hornets is going to be a very good fit at the backup point guard spot as a veteran leader on a team that's going to need a little bit more of that. So I like the fit there. And then for the Cavs, Schroeder, I like the addition at the time, but in the playoffs, he wasn't really that helpful besides the game 5 against Toronto, which was super nice. That was really the only helpful game that he had throughout his time with the Cavs. So they move on from him. Trey Mann, we'll see if he stays on the roster. I'm more so excited, like you guys said, for getting Proctor or Porter some more minutes. It's actually funny, like legitimately a half hour before the trade got reported, I was watching Craig Porter Jr. highlights, and I was thinking, like, man, he's already going into his 4th year in the league, and he's never gotten like really actual playoff minutes, consistently. Cavs need to make a decision on him soon because he's a pretty decent player that can do a lot of things that just hasn't shown it yet. And, now here's a consolidation trade where hopefully he can prove himself to be in that role, or the same thing with Tyrese Proctor. So that'll be the most you hear on that trade.
Yeah, I like Peasy. I'm a big Craig Porter fan.
Yeah, for sure. But now let's get into our top 10 shooting guards. This always a lot of fun. We did our point guards last time. The point guards list definitely the deepest one, so definitely a step back a little bit with the shooting guard spot. Definitely top heavy. Just like last pod, Joey gave me his list as Nick sent me the list on the last podcast, so we still have all of his takes. Definitely some interesting ones in here for Joey. He always loves his predictions heading into the season, so we'll definitely excited to hear your guys' thoughts on those. But Nick, since you weren't on with us last time, tell us, how did you form your list for your shooting guards? What did you kind of base your list off of?
Mostly based on impact on winning from last season. I'm glad that Joey likes to do the projections. That's not how I base it. It's more so what you've already proven and what's the most recent status of your pedigree.
Yeah, that's kind of how Ben and I have kind of formed the list. I've done impact on winning, how they performed last year, obviously durability in different cases, and just how I feel about them heading into next season. So this,
I will say, one that I might be unique to me is like, you guys know I have my winning plays index app for the viewers. It's an app where I can watch film and press hotkeys, so I chart like hard hustle selflessness plays and like high impact plays and vomit moments and negative plays like that. So I will say like that sort of thing doesn't always favor guys who are bucket getters. It favors hustlers and stuff. So that's just my perspective. And I'll start us off if that's cool, because I kind of got one of those guys first that I don't know if you guys are going to have on here, but I'm interested to see your reactions. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a great year last year, and he made my top 10 list. So I put him right here on the cusp of inside the top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, most improved player last year bumped up a whole lot of spots. Obviously, wasn't in consideration last year. Coming off of a few years with Minnesota, he bumped his scoring from 9 points a game all the way up to 21 a game. Turned himself into a legitimate, efficient 3-point shooter, 40% from three on 8 attempts a game, nearly playing the whole season. Like, he was awesome. I'm excited to see what he keeps on doing, and don't worry, you're not the only one to have him on your list. I have him a little bit higher.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, I like the Nikhil Alexander one. It was 11. He was very close to making mine, but
Ooh.
at number 10, I have Mikal Bridges, NBA champion with the New York Knicks this year. He was only the fourth fastest scoring wise, but played well, played his role well. You could always count on him for being durable playing games. I've always, been quite impressed with that guy, and he plays good defense. He shot the ball well. Got off to a slower start to the playoffs, but like Tao, he started to pick it up more and find his role better in the playoffs. That really helped the Knicks, win a championship. Good spot up shooter for them, able to knock down shots sometimes for them. Had a few good scoring games mixed in there to playoffs. I think, from what I remember, he had a few 20+ point games in the playoffs. So he's no, it's a guy, count on for hopefully getting good production when he's on, for being reliable guy.
Yeah, Joey, who's someone that is very, was very critical of him throughout his season last year. And at the start of the playoffs when he was struggling, also had him at his number 10 spot, which makes sense. I mean, he was incredible in the playoffs. Like you said, Ben, he shot 56% from the field in the playoffs. Like, he was monstrous. And one of the biggest reasons why that Knicks ecosystem was working for them throughout the playoffs. He was awesome for them. I had him on my list at number 9, a spot higher. My number 10 is a former New York Knick. I have RJ Barrett at number 10. I had him making the list off of Toronto. Another solid regular season for him. 19 points, 5 boards per game, 49% from the field, is most efficient, or one of his most efficient regular seasons. But I had him making the list based off of the playoffs that he had, the first round series against the Cavs, where he was phenomenal. Him and Scotty Barnes were fantastic. I'm excited to talk about Scotty in a couple of episodes on the power forwards list, but RJ Barrett was just incredible. He put fear into, a lot of Cavs fans. He hit the game-winning shot in Game 6 to force that series to Game 7, and he was phenomenal in that series. You could make the case that he was actually better than any of the Cavs in that series. I thought he was phenomenal and is definitely worthy of a top 10 spot.
Yeah,
he had a great series versus us.
Yeah, he was fantastic, Barrett. Let's get into my number 9. I had it like swap for Miles. I had RJ Barrett at my number
Nice.
9. Yeah, I was just, impressed with him. In the Cavs series, he stepped it up well to at least keep them in and have a chance at possibly winning the series. Even with Brandon Ingram struggling and getting hurt, which was, impressive. Play with some good pride and on his home country's team. And then, my goodness, it was a heartbreaker as a Cavs fan, but that shot to bounce off and go in, amazing moment. I mean, quite a special moment he picked up there, and he proved nicely this year in the Raptors, and he, shot 49% for the field. He had a good shooting year, so overall he, was just a good shooting guard. Showed up and was reliable in playoffs for the Raptors.
Yeah. Just one more thing on him. I mean, just a very, a very consistent player throughout his career. And he's turning into a guy that, when we did our trivia podcast a couple episodes ago, when we did the most 20-point games with no all-stars, and a CJ McCollum is like, I think, the one guy that you think of when it's like, who's the best player in the league that's never made an all-star team throughout the career? I think CJ McCollum is that guy. RJ Barrett is on line to become
Yeah.
that guy. Like, if he doesn't make an all-star team, he's going to be, I think he's a more versatile player than CJ McCollum. Like, he might be on a career track to be the best player in NBA history to never make an all-star team, just because it feels like he's always going to be in that kind of supporting role on a team. You don't really think I don't think he's going to be a number one guy. But he's, I feel like he's gone under the radar now because he's not on the Knicks and he hasn't become like an all-star player. But dude, he doesn't usually miss a whole lot of time. You know what you're getting every single game. Like, I think he's turned himself into a very nice, solid player.
Yeah, he's what you wish Karis LeVert would be. In a way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You could say that.
All right, but he didn't make my list, unfortunately. He was definitely right there on the outside. But at my number 9, I went with VJ Edgecombe.
So did Joey.
Oh, wow. He is.
I had a feeling
VJ.
that me and Joey were on the same telepathy wavelength there. So I was going to ask if Joey would go first. Yeah, VJ obviously going to be a big part of a very good team this year in that starting 5 to round out 4 20-point scorers. Hopefully he has enough opportunities to eat there. I'm sure he will with maybe LeBron missing time, Joel missing time. They're going to want to keep the mileage down on those other guys. So, VJ might have some more opportunities in the regular season. And he's been somebody who I think was drafted number 4 overall last year. 3, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Ace fell a little bit further. And has just impressed from the get-go and improved every single step of the way. So definitely I feel like deserving to be in this top 10 list. Did you guys have VJ in your top 10?
No, I wasn't too close. But I mean, I was a bit surprised you guys hit him, but I mean, he wasn't that far off for 10. He's had a nice rookie year. Surprised that you guys are crazy of my Harper picked it like Joey had in the top 10, but okay. But I like his athleticism. He had a nice rookie year for the Sixers. He showed up and had some big scoring games. Now this year, we'll take more of like a step back. I guess maybe more of a free D role, but play well in this new role. Hopefully, in the loaded Sixers team we're going to get next year.
Yeah, Ben, don't worry. I was not going to be unfair to you. I was waiting until my turn to talk. This might be as crazy or crazier than Dylan Harper at number 10. I'm not going to lie. I think this is 100% a projecting pick for. I know Joey because he likes to do it. This is 100% a projection pick.
Yeah, I would say it's also you put. One of the ways that I thought about making this list was if a guy was in another guy's opportunity or another guy's spot. So a couple of guys I had off the list were like Sharp and Levine, and because I felt like if VJ was in their opportunities, he'd be better than them. I mean, I have him. Bridges is my next guy at 8, so I have him right outside of of that. But I feel like if he was in Toronto, he'd be cooking too. I mean, they're two different kinds of players, sort of. Like VJ is more of an outside shooter, I think. Not that RJ doesn't shoot it from deep, but VJ plays off the ball a lot better. He's more of I would say a traditional 2, where I mean his defensive capabilities are pretty, S tier.
Yeah, I think it's a similar thing to the Dylan Harper at 10 thing, where I think he's got to earn a spot like this first. And I think if he was in one of those spots, I don't know if they would have been much better with him in the spot. Like, I don't know if the Raptors have won their series if it was VJ Edgecombe instead of RJ Barrett. I don't think there's any way, because I think Edgecombe still has. I mean, he was a very solid rookie. He just has some room to grow, especially with the consistency. I know a talking point that Ben and I brought up a lot throughout the playoffs was that he did have some monster games where, like in the first round against Boston, he had 30 and 6 threes in game 2, 23 and 5 threes in game 7. He was monstrous from 3 in their wins. But then in their losses in that series, he didn't make a 3. He was 0 for 16 from 3 in the series when they lost. And he was, like 15 for 30 something when they won. So that consistency just has to get there on an every night basis.
You know who else
in order
wasn't
for me to have him on the list.
great in the playoffs? That's totally valid. And I get your point about deserving. I'm just going to be smart. But Donovan didn't have a great playoffs either. I know we're going to get to him.
I mean, well, he didn't have an elite playoffs, but at least he had a 39-point second half and was the best player on a conference finals team. So that's still
they got swept.
Still making it that's better than where any of these other teams got to that we're going to talk, except for one guy.
Yeah,
hopefully, eventually, if we get to him. We'll see, though. This is back-to-back pods, though, where I think we're going a little crazy early. But I love it. I love these hot takes. Number 8 for me is where I had Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Again, I thought he had a phenomenal season, and he's proven to be an elite role player. And when he was asked to do more, he was really good at 20-point score. That also still played defense and kept the efficiency, even though he was shooting a much higher volume. In fact, from 3, again, it was even more efficient. So I think he was definitely had a monster season. Ben, who's your number 8?
Yeah, my number 8 is Desmond Bane of the Orlando Magic. He was a nice, addition to them. He didn't have too crazy of a year, but I mean, it was still a good season. He shot 39% for free, which was all right. Averaged 20 a game in the regular season, 18 a game in the playoffs. I remember he had that one crazy game winner because the Trailblazers early in the last regular season. That was impressive. He had some lows just trying to get used to the Magic, but new team. But he had some good shooting nights, and I mean, most of the time he's consistent, have a good scoring games, trying to help space the floor on the Magic, and play some tough defense sometimes. So overall, a good shooting guard, sort of around the same player he has been past years for me.
Yeah, Joey also had Desmond Bane at number 8. I have him a couple spots higher. Excuse me. Yeah, I thought very good season. Efficient player, and this year he played every game. So he was about as reliable as you could ask for the Magic in his first year there. Nick, who's your number 7?
Amen Thompson.
Oh,
okay.
Thompson, number 7. All right.
Yeah, I guess my whole speech about defense and impact plays and non-scoring goes out the window because I guess I have Thompson lower than everybody else. So, but no, Amen is one of those guys that fit right into my sort of style of coaching in basketball, and pass first, usually racks up a good amount of assists, plays very good defense, pretty much can guard 1 through 5 with his athleticism and length, and I love the way that he attacks the rim constantly throughout the game and looks for himself and others, finishes with authority, one of the most athletic guys in the league. So maybe have him a bit lower. I would only flip him with the next guy that I have, though, to be honest.
Interesting. All right, I'm interested to hear the reasoning on that when we get there. I'm very curious. I'll go next with number 7 because I had the same guy as Joey. We both had Brandon Miller at number 7. Who just had a very good year for the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, again, their second half run being one of the best teams in the league on both ends of the ball, and he was one of the many players in that starting lineup that benefited took a whole lot of shots, was pretty efficient from three, 20 points a game, 5 boards, 3 assists. And I just really like his upside going forward. Like I think in his rookie season, we were kind of talking how I think he could be like, if everything goes well, he could be the next Paul George. I think they're very similar players, and I think he's really trending in the right direction. And now with no LaMelo, no Miles Bridges, and it's kind of just him and Concanipple as their two leaders there, I expect him to have a monster season this year for Charlotte. Whether it leads to winning or not, we'll see. But I think that he is definitely trending in the right direction. He's in for a very big season next year.
Yeah, he is. But I'll get it to my number 7. I have Norman Powell right there at number 7. He was an all-star last year. He finally became an all-star.
Was he?
For him on that. I know you didn't. Yeah. Overall, I mean, he played hard on the Heat. He shot the ball well. He got off to a hot start to the year. I think he tailed off a bit later in the year, but still an overall good season. Puts us a good consistent numbers, and yeah, I mean, he's got a little more older now, 33 years old, but I mean, found a way to prove more, be an all-star in the Heat. Good for him, and I think coming up this year on the Bulls, I'm excited for it. I was a bit surprised he went there, but I think it's cool. I think he'll be a nice mentor to your young guys that fit their style, play good. So I think he could have another nice year on the Bulls with trying to help elevate them with their rebuild over there.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid player. I'm gonna say this real quick, just because I think this speaks for all of us. On the shooting guards list, I'd say that all these spots right now, besides the top two, because those are the two superstar level players, they are all interchangeable from like 3 all the way down to like even guys that didn't make the list at 12, 13. So when I
Yeah.
say that I did not have Norman Powell on my list, even though he made the All-Star team last year, it's not because I think he's a bad player. I just think the guys above him were just better overall and contributed to winning more. It does sound a little crazy though that he did make an All-Star team, but he didn't make the top 10 list. And
now it's crazy. Now it's crazy. But when I said LaMelo deserved his All-Star spot over Norman, it was.
Well, he didn't at the time.
Okay.
He didn't at the time. No, he did not. Powell deserved at the time.
I think Brandon Miller deserved it over him too, Miles.
Yeah, I know you did. You were a Hornets.
I would have picked any of those 5 Hornets guys.
Yes, you would have.
I said that, I think, at the time.
No, you did. The Hornets just hadn't done enough yet at that point, I think, to warrant it. But Norman Powell, good. Yeah, definitely a good player, good scorer. Just because of injuries and because Tyler Hero came back and him and Powell didn't really fit in together. Powell had to come off the bench near the end of the season. The numbers weren't as great. So that's why I had him off my list. But definitely, he had a very good season. And I think he's someone that should thrive with the Bulls next year.
Yeah, Miles, I think we have the same guy at 6. Are we ready to go to 6?
Sure.
I got Bane.
Yep, I do too. We already talked about him. But a very, very nice player. I think it's important to mention with him how the Magic, although they were a disappointing team, overall in the season, we all had a lot of high expectations for him. Desmond Bane did more than I thought he was going to do. Like we all thought that, he was going to give them the 3-point shooting that they needed. But he actually, if I'm not mistaken, he took more 2-pointers than 3s this year, a lot more. It was double the amount of 2s than 3s, which sometimes you would think might be reversed with him. But he's a very versatile player, good mid-range shooter, good at getting to the free throw line. He's automatic at the line, and obviously a great 3-point shooter as well. So, he's another guy with the Magic keeping basically the same team, but adding in Sean Sweeney. I think he's in for another big year. But I want to give him a lot of love for the performance that he did last year. Again, playing in every single game, putting up 20 points, 34 minutes a game. I think he had a great year for Orlando.
Yeah.
Ben, who was your 6?
Yeah, I had Men Thompson at 6. He had a, you know, overall, I mean, a good individual season defensively. I mean, he's still phenomenal on that end, but, it's defense. I mean, I value some defense too along with offense. And yeah, he still, has some struggles like with the, perimeter shooting. I mean, didn't shoot a great free still, but he did, up his scoring by like 4 points per game from the season before, 15 up to 19 last year. I mean, that was in the playoffs, 15 to 19. Regular season, 14 to 18. So we basically upped it by 4 points for both regular season and playoffs. And yeah, was a disappointing playoff X for the Rockets. If he could prove his offensive game even more, could help them good. But I mean, he's played his role well, especially with the defense. And I mean, his athleticism, like even with his brother Asar, is just, quite impressive. It's fun to watch. And he's, helped turn the Rockets around, at least into a more competitive team, looking to see if they can somehow go further than last year coming up this next season.
Yeah, Thompson. It seems like we all had him kind of at different spots because Joey had him a spot higher. I have him a couple spots higher. I think, he did a lot of good things last year with a lot of pressure on him as well. And I thought he performed pretty well in those moments. Um, let's see. I guess now, oh no, Joey's number 6 is the guy that I have at number 5, Stephon Castle from the San Antonio Spurs. You as well, Nick.
Yeah, I have him at 5 too. Talk about a guy who, I mean, for the most part, performed well with the pressure on. I don't think he had any of the big blubs that really cost the Spurs late in a lot of their finals games. I mean, that dude is poised. Like you watch him play, it's like he's the same guy. You don't know what the score is. You don't know how many points he's got. You don't know if he's played good minutes, bad minutes, how many minutes. He's just pretty Kawhi Leonard-esque out there. I'm a big Steph Castle fan, as well as Amen Thompson.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're kind of similar players, but Castle has shown a little bit more with being able to shoot the ball and isn't like an alien athletically compared to the Thompson twins. But I think Castle is, I think Castle's a really special player who, definitely is already better than I thought he would be. Like when coming into the draft that year, when everyone was talking about how the 2024 draft was a weak draft, there wouldn't be any special players. Like Stephon Castle's clearly the best player from that draft, and he is on line to be a key part.
Whoops. Huh.
Dude, what happened right there is what Stephon Castle's added to the Spurs this year. Oh, shout out LeBron. Shout out LeBron. But yeah, Stephon Castle, I have him at 5. Nick has him at 5. Very, very solid player there. Ben, who's your number 5?
Yeah, 5 I have Brandon Miller. He had a good year last year, but I think, this year, I mean, I think he's due for like a huge season potentially, like he said, and he's like Paul George. I agreed on those few things he said, Miles. I'm really excited to watch him this year try to lead the Hornets, and I mean, see how he does there now as one of the main scoring options after LaMelo gone, and now the Hornets, really believe, tried to build around him and Cog Knipple coming up this season. So yeah, he believe it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. It's put on fun shows with Donkey, and now hopefully, we get good entertainment with him and Eric Collins calls. He had some special calls for Eric Collins too. Shout out Brandon Miller.
Yeah, definitely in for a big season this year. Nick, did you have Brandon Miller on your list? Oh no,
Oh,
didn't have him on the list. All
was
right,
it
well we'll
Joey?
Wow.
see. Brandon Miller's gonna have to prove Coach Cove wrong, even though he had him, maybe making the All Star team over Norman Powell.
Did Joey have him?
Oh yeah, he had him at number
But
7.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have thought he was a 3.
Oh, yeah. Well, either I mean that'll be. Well, we'll see. I don't. We'll see if we talk about Con Knipple in the next podcast. Um, let's see. All right. Number 4 is where I have Amen Thompson. I think he's a very special player. I think he had a ton of pressure on him last year without Fred Van Fleet to play a position that he's not a natural point guard, but he had to play it a lot for them last year. And I thought that he, did very well for them. It wasn't all perfect. Again, he's not the perfect player because he can't shoot the ball from range to save his life. I mean, he's another one of those guys that if he adds a jump shot, sky's the limit for him. But until that happens, there are still some things that he needs to figure out with his game to kind of make up for the lack of a jump shot. And he already does very well. He's got a nice floater. He's a very solid playmaker. Of course, he's a above the rim finisher as a guard. I think he's a very special player and on track to do better now that Fred's going to be back. Well, I don't know how great Fred is going to look coming off the injury, but he should help Thompson now that Thompson's going to be back at his normal position this year.
Yeah.
Let me. So Joey, I'm going to go to Joey next for number 4.
Yeah, I'm in trouble here, boys.
This was kind of a shocker to me. I'm not sure if I'm just crazy for not having this guy on my list, but Joey had Tyler Hero at number 4. Did you guys
thank
have
What?
I did too. Yeah, me too.
Oh Lord, have
No
mercy.
way. What?
Yeah, I believe in Tyler Hero,
Oh.
man. He's 1 year off a 77 appearance season with an All-Star game. I mean, that was a year ago. He had a lot of injuries this last year, but I mean, you know what you're getting with Tyler Hero. He can fill it up. He can drop 40 on you any given night. I don't think everybody on this list is necessarily in that level of threat as a scorer. And obviously, he's going to have a huge year. Joey likes his projections with being the only guy with the ball in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, so that's where I agree. I think he's going to put up great numbers. And you're right, Nick. He is a player that, he can definitely put up numbers. But, Ben, I think you and I can agree. Don't have him on the list because he gives it back up at the other end at a rate probably higher than anyone else on the list.
Yeah.
And he's very injury prone, and he does not contribute to winning. So that's why I've had him off.
Yeah, more agree with you, Miles. I mean, it wasn't that far off mine, like a 13, but not quite on the list. Sometimes effort ain't the best, but I mean, he is a good scorer. I wouldn't be surprised if he put up more points per game with the Bucks. But wow, that one was a bit surprising to me. I guess I'll give him the mine. Number 4, I had Stephon Castle here at number 4. I was pretty impressed with him on the Spurs playoff run. He had, some good scoring games along with, just impressive defense at times. And I mean, I thought, after Wemby, he was the second best player on the Spurs to be on the playoff run. Like, he did have a couple of 30-plus point games, like 32 to close the series against Minnesota, 33 game 3 against Portland, and I think that game 3 was when, they didn't have Wemby from what I remember. So, I mean, he can step it up at times in big moments. Sometimes he doesn't score as much, like he had some more struggles. Looking back at the back scores for him as scoring in the next series. But overall, I mean, he rookie of the year, took a nice year 2 jump. He really works hard. Like to see how he improved year 2, and the Spurs got a hit for more Griffin here year 3, and I believe he can bring it and have another big year potentially coming up. Potentially, I guess he could be a better shooter from the outside, which could help the Spurs, and hope they could just keep the great defense going there in their backcourt.
Yeah, I think one of the big things with Castle is that even if the shot isn't going, like he finds other ways to just impact the game in a lot of different other areas. Like his final game of the season, game 5 of the finals, he shot just 1 of 10 from the field, 6 points. He didn't get his only bucket was like a putback in the final seconds of game 5. And I remember throughout the game, I'm like, I didn't notice that he hadn't made a shot. Like he has a positive impact on the game even if he doesn't make a shot. It's obviously helpful when he scores, but he can find other ways to contribute. I think his goal for this season, as is for Dylan Harper probably as well. Both of those guys, their goals this season should be to make the All-Star team this year. I think, especially for Castle, I think he should definitely make an All-Star team this year.
Yeah, if the Spurs have a good record by the break, they could get a handful.
Yeah. Wow, though, this, unless I'm just forgetting someone, it sounds like we should have the same top 3 guys, which is actually kind of surprising here for me. So Ben, who's your number 3? Let's hear it.
Yeah, I had Austin Reeves free. You guys have him
Yep.
there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, good.
Yeah. That's what I was figuring.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was. Go ahead,
Austin
Ben.
Reeves, last year, great year scoring. Even more of a jump there. I mean, when there were some injuries towards the beginning of last year, some monster games he had last year, the beginning of the regular season, which is really impressive. And he plays hard and plays a good defense. And overall, I mean, he turned out to be a guy, undrafted guy who, on the Lakers, you could trust to be a reliable, pretty good second option scorer down the Luka there going into this year. Pretty impressive there with Austin Reeves.
Yeah, it's incredible that he's gotten to the point where we all consensus have him a top 3 shooting guard in the league. Like that is some special stuff. And the run early in the season, Ben, has really been what has catapulted him to this spot for me. The first 19 games of the season, he averaged 29, 6 and 7 on 53% shooting from the field, 37 from 3, 88% from the free throw line, getting there 10 times a game. Like he is a star level scorer who definitely could also be in line to make an All-Star game this year as well. Like I love watching him play. And it's just so impressive that he's gotten to this point in his career. I never would have ever thought that.
Totally agree. It's a fantastic story for a guy who's undrafted, denied like second round opportunity to pick his team and get a good fit, and it all worked out for him. Top 3 position, or top 3 at his position in the league is, unanimous here among the Run in the Paint pod.
Yeah, but now we have our top 2, the 2 superstar shooting guards in the league at this moment. I'm curious to see what order we have these top 2 guys in. Joey has Anthony Edwards at number 2. I have Anthony Edwards at number 2. Ben, who do you have number 2?
Oh, that's funny. It's flip-flopped. I've Donovan Mitchell there, but it is close. Right. It is debatable. Yeah, but no, I'm a big fan of Donovan Mitchell still. I thought, well, I mean, good on him, at least best player in the Cavs. Cavs made the conference finals. I want championship though. Want more hopefully eventually with him. But I mean, he's tried. He's a great guy, a great leader, and he had another really good regular season this past year. 7th for MVP, 27 points per game. Averaged 26 in the playoffs, which was a bit lower than past couple of years, but team went a little further at least. And I mean, least in the next series, I mean, he did still have some big scoring games. I mean, his effort he wasn't too bad. He was still energized in that. But um, yeah, I mean, he had it was a bit up and down at times. Like the first few rounds, it was like a roller coaster. The whole Cavs, Toronto, Detroit, we got out of both of those series at least, but still like huge performances that were really impressive. Like obviously the 39-point second half would really impressed me, and yeah, 35 in game 3 against Detroit, which was big still. So he was the best player from that Detroit series, which was cool. But Toronto, I mean, sometimes that series after the first few games was struggling a bit more. I mean, credit Toronto, they found some good ways to defend them, but overall, phenomenal player, and he still is one of my favorite players out there in the NBA. I hope he can win us a championship one day.
Yeah, Nick, I take it you did the same as Ben.
Why would you say that?
Oh, I wasn't sure you hadn't said anything.
Yeah, I did. I also do think it's very close, though. I think it's
Yeah.
debatable. I just think that Ant's nuclear ability, to be honest with you, I think he's got a bit more of that. He's got a bit more size, defends at a bit of a higher level. Um, the scoring is pretty neck and neck. Donovan might even have the edge there in terms of creativity to finish around the basket and creativity to get to the lane. Shooting wise, Anthony Edwards has really improved a lot, and that's one of the biggest reasons I think he is the best, is because he's such a threat from the perimeter, and that opens up a lot of different parts of his game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these two guys, I think they're at the same tier. Like, I think when we do our top 50 players list, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I feel like for me, I might have these two guys right next to each other on their list, on the list. Like they're the exact same tier player. I mean, the only reason really why I gave Donovan the edge was I thought his regular season I thought it was the best regular season of his career from an efficiency standpoint. I mean, he shot 48% from the field this year, which is great for a guy that takes, the shots that he does at that level. And I thought that his leadership was huge for the Cavs to stay afloat the first half of the season when they were dealing with all these injuries. Everything was kind of going downhill. Like the Cavs were very close to kind of snapping and cracking at being the most disappointing team in the Eastern Conference, but he kept them alive and got them to the point where the front office still believed that they could have a chance to win a title by going all in for James Harden. And if Donovan Mitchell didn't have the regular season that he had, I don't think the Cavs would have had a chance to make it as far as they did, even though the playoffs wasn't as, great as, his previous times in the playoffs. But I mean, like you said, Ben, he still had some monster games. Again, the 39-point second half game 4 against Detroit, 35 points, 10 boards, game 3 against Detroit as well. The first 2 games of the Raptors series. He set the tone in game 7 of the Pistons series on the road by making plays, and the Cavs had game 1 of the Knicks series in the bag before they blew the lead. So obviously Anthony Edwards is an incredible player. And again, they're at the same tier player. Like you said, Nick, his improved shooting, him being bigger, his athleticism, his defense, I think they're all they're both incredibly special players. And I can't be mad at having either one higher than the other.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say is these guys are both at same points, similar career arcs where they're trying to prove that they're the best player. Not trying to prove the best player on the team, but trying to prove that they're good enough to not only get to the finals, or at this point, get to the finals, get past the second round, and they're both kind of in that same position right now with similar questions about them. Like, I know a lot of people are questioning if Donovan's good enough to lead the team to the finals. I mean, Anthony Edwards has had 2 shots to get there as well and hasn't been able to do it. So,
yeah, that's a great point. And now Anthony Edwards now has the all-star point guard, now getting LaMelo like the Cavs did with Garland and Mitchell. So we'll see, which one can kind of work here. It's kind of interesting too, because both those guys had Rudy Gobert you know, and it worked for it's worked for
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards in the playoffs, worked for Donovan Moore in the regular season. But yeah, both guys really are at similar points in their career. Quickly going back to kind of the national TV schedule thing a little bit. I'm hoping that at some point Wolves Cavs can become like a big marquee matchup just because of those two players. Because again, they're both similar players at the same at the same level, very good at very similar things. I wish the league kind of marketed those two guys a bit more as kind of being toe to toe at that shooting guard spot because they're right there neck and neck. But the small market thing definitely makes it tougher for those two teams.
We will get to see it earlier on this regular season. Cavs' second home games against the Timberwolves, but yeah, not a national TV one. That one, unfortunately, it will be a really fun backcourt game. Obviously, Edwards and LaMelo versus Harden and Mitchell is cool. All that, so could be quite an entertaining early game to watch. So I look forward to that one.
Yeah, for sure. But that is it for our top 10 shooting guard list. Definitely a lot of fun on this one. A lot more parity across the board. I don't know if we've ever had a list before where there was a player that was number 4 on half the list, didn't even make it on the other half of the list. Like that just shows the parity.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, because the way that we weight them, you add up and then divide by 4.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see if one of these guys are going to be left off the list, Hero or Miller or maybe Naw or Edgecombe. Probably Edgecombe.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'll do the calculations afterwards to see where the guys are at. But definitely a lot of fun. We'll see small forward. We're going to go back up to having some more superstar all-star players in there for the next podcast. So should be a lot of fun, but that's all we have here. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
No, sir. Stay tuned for the next one. Small forward list.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.